Like so many of us, 2020 literally pulled the rug out from under my feet, and when all was said and done, my life was a hot mess. And now here I am at 40-something, healing from depression and anxiety, doing my best to live my best hot mess life, all while making some magic and miracles along the way, using the same sacred feminine principles that I've been preaching for so long. And now I get to share all of that with you. My name is Maria, aka the Femme Coach, and you're listening to the Femcast podcast. The podcast for wild, sassy, and spiritual women who are ready to tap into their sacred feminine superpowers and live their best hot mess life. This podcast is listener discretion advised for mature content and coarse language. Hey you guys, what is up, and welcome back to the Femcast. I'm feeling pretty lit today, I'm warning you, and that is because we're here to have a very serious conversation. If you've been struggling with feeling as though you're constantly giving and giving and giving to everyone and everything around you and doing all the things and running around like a chicken with your head cut off trying to get through all your to-dos and everything that you do for everyone else and feeling exhausted and complete and depleted and completely taken advantage of by the world around you at the end of the day, you're going to want to listen to this episode. Really important. Probably one of the most powerful strategies I ever implemented in my life. And, it's especially important to do if you're actually also waiting for the world to reward you, waiting for people to validate and appreciate you and give back to you the way you've been giving to them and say to you, oh, honey, go book that day at the spa or take care of yourself or take that vacation or do all the things or here's a gift or how can I help you? Oh, honey, if you've been waiting for any of those things, if you know what I'm talking about, stay tuned. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to share my experience with you and my strategies for how I shifted this pattern and how I've helped so many other women shift it as well. So you're not going to want to miss this. Grab a paper and a pen. We'll be right back after this brief message about how you can get access to the Radical Shift daily practice. When it all fell apart in 2020, I literally had nothing left to fall back on. All I had left were my family, a few close friends, and the same sacred feminine principles that I had been preaching for so long. So I created a practice around those principles, and I devoted a few minutes each day to that practice. And very quickly, things began to shift. And before I knew it, everything worked out so much better than I ever thought was possible. Literally, I created the best hot mess life ever. And now I'm so excited to share that practice with you. It's called the Radical Shift Daily Practice, and it's literally the 5-minute daily practice that will change your life. And it is yours absolutely free. Simply go to my website at thefemcoach.com and sign up now to receive free and instant access to the practice, plus a 30-minute training video designed to help you get the most out of your practice. All so that you too can immediately start living your best hot mess life. Okay, so we're going to have a little real talk today. Everybody sit down. Listen, we're going to have a sit down. I remember my mom used to say that to me whenever I was in trouble about something. We're going to have a sit down today. Do you ever have those times when, you're kind of running around doing everything for everybody and you're absolutely burnt out and agitated and feeling like there's just not enough time in the freaking day. Like you're working constantly, you're running around, you're getting the lunches ready for the kids, you're driving the kids to school, you're picking them back up between meetings, you've got the principal calling, you've got them to take them to their soccer and their dance classes, or maybe you're just constantly working and then, you finally sit down at 6 o'clock to heat up your leftover meal and pour yourself a glass of wine and your boss starts calling you constantly asking for things, or your friend starts calling you because she's in crisis, or your family starts calling you and starts running down the list of ideas that they thought would be brilliant for you to do to help them with, right? And you maybe finally at 9 o'clock or 10, able to sit down, veg out in front of the TV, and just mindlessly tune out of life and feeling so exhausted and so agitated. And when you get to this point, it's so easy to get agitated by every little thing, like every time your email goes off, every time your messenger dings with that annoying, like, pa-ding! I don't even know how to describe that sound. Anytime you get any kind of notification or evidence that someone is calling on you is enough to like set you off, right? And some more than others, right? This is totally proportionate to the level of the proportionate to the level that the person has the ability to irritate you. If they're really irritating, then this will be like magnified. If they rarely ever irritate you and they're usually pretty cool, they may irritate you like a little bit, right? I gotta tell you something. It's not their problem. And I say this with all the love in the world, but it is not their problem. This is 100% and entirely your problem. Okay? And here's why. You have been saying yes to everything. You never say no. You're always available. If you ever try to make yourself unavailable or say no, you say, I'm not going to answer the phone. You sit there, you look at it, it's ringing. You say, oh, fuck it, let me just answer it. You say, nope, that's it. I'm never saying yes to evening tasks again from my coworkers or whatever. I'm never going to do it again. You sit there and you get the request coming in and you're like, oh, but it'll just take 2 minutes. And you do it, right? And you do it gladly. Like, it's not like you're doing it begrudgingly. Like, you're doing it gladly because this is who you are. This is who you are. You cannot say, you find it really hard to say no. You find it really hard to not be available. You find it really hard to just take some time to say, I need some time to myself, or I can do this, but maybe I'll do this later, or this really isn't a line for me to do right now. Or ever. God forbid you ever say that, right? So you don't do these things, like I said, you don't do them with anger or begrudgingly. You do them gladly. And you do them feeling really good most of the time, like feeling like you're doing a really good thing. And what ends up happening is you'll do them, you'll feel good about it. I think I did the right thing. I helped out today. I made someone's day better, I really showed up. I did this, blah, 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 right? We come up with this. We idealize all of this, right? But then what slowly ends up happening is, our day never ends. It starts earlier. It finishes later. We get tired. We become irritable. Things start to trigger us. We don't know why. We wake up feeling exhausted. We have no energy or motivation to do anything at the end of the day. And suddenly it starts to actually take a toll on our emotional well-being. The reality is that we cannot keep functioning at these levels. And even though we do these things and we do them with love and gratitude and we appreciate and enjoy them, it starts to take a toll on our overall well-being. We start to get triggered by other things. We think those things are the problem, but they're not. The problem is actually that we are not taking care of ourselves. Okay? We can absolutely do all the things that we need to do and take care of the people in our lives and really show up and be a powerful force and a support. We can absolutely do all those things. But it's so important that we recognize, and I see this time and time again, and I've fallen victim to it. Like I've fallen victim to it in the past. I've learned my lesson. I am very careful now. Because I really did learn my lesson the hard way. I cannot tell you how many times I got burnt out, agitated, and, got to that point where I was constantly being triggered by everything around me, would lash out and seriously just created so much friction and turmoil in my environments and in my relationships as a result of how I was feeling and how I was not taking care of myself. And now, like having, learned that lesson and really learn to practice radical self-love, I can easily see this in people around me, and I can spot it a mile away, and I can tell right away, like, honey, you need a vacation. And again, it's not because they're bad people. It's because they're just waiting for somebody to tell them, hey, you should treat yourself. Hey, you should take some time off. Hey, you've done so much. We appreciate you. What can we do for you today? How can we help you? Here, mom, put your feet up. Let's make you some breakfast. Right? Here's a gift certificate. Why don't you go spend the day at the spa? These women are waiting for someone else to do that for them. And I know because I've been there. I've been there. I get it. And that is not the answer. Because you know what? I was waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and it never freaking happened. And you know what ended up happening? I ended up like literally like losing it on like the people that mattered most, because I was just so burnt out and I just wasn't having it anymore. And like I could not, like I said, I could not receive an email or a messenger something without getting triggered as fuck. So here's a strategy. Stop waiting for somebody to gift you with a spa day. Stop waiting for somebody to tell you to take some time for yourself or to take some rest or to say, hey, how can I help you? Okay, stop. It ends now. Let it go. It's not going to happen. Here is what I would like you to consider doing instead. Whatever time you wake up in the morning, and you're going to think I'm nuts, you're going to wake up an hour earlier or half hour earlier. And you're going to have some time to yourself in the morning before anybody else wakes up in the house, okay? You're going to find a quiet space. You're going to make it nice and cozy. Maybe bring in some nice little trinkets and cozy things that make you feel luxurious or comforted or whatever, right? I want you to bring in those elements, right? Find a corner on the couch or in your room or another room in the house, whatever. And just kind of make that your little nook. Have a journal. Do your journal practice. Have a cup of coffee in the morning by yourself in peace and quiet. Light a nice scented candle, okay? And make this your morning ritual. Tune in to how you're feeling and intentionally create your day. That is what the Radical Shift Daily Practice is absolutely meant for. You can download it. I gave you the details for that. You can go to the website to get it. It's totally free. 5 steps, 5 minutes. It's all it takes. So you'll do that. You'll journal. You'll spend some time journaling. You'll look at how you're feeling, what you want, what you desire, what your dreams are, what your frustrations are. And you'll start to just really spend that time with yourself and honor yourself. You'll go about your day and you'll look at your schedule. You'll look at your to-do list. You'll I can never say that word ever. You will compartmentalize. And you will put things into the following categories: must do, nice to do, delegate to somebody else, or defer to another time, right? I can schedule that later. So maybe four categories: must do, nice to do, delegate to someone else, schedule for a later date. Okay. That way you do your must do's. Do the things that you have to do that are non-negotiable, that you know are going to set you up for success. If you do them, you do those things. The nice to haves, they're discretionary. Yeah, if you can get to them, great. If not, it's not the end of the world. Delegate as much as you can. Get support from your coworkers. Get support from your family members. This is not a one-woman show. Okay? We can't do all things all the time. We need help. Hire help if you don't have some. Or sometimes even getting support is getting emotional support, and if I know a lot of times, there's been times in my life where I totally needed emotional support and I couldn't afford it. Join free communities, join communities with other women who are struggling with the same thing. There's lots of ways to find support out there. If you really feel that you need it. And it's so important that we feel emotionally supported throughout our day. And then defer till later. Like if something doesn't need to be done today, you're just being like, a champion. You're trying to get everything done at once. If it really doesn't need to be done until next month, then leave it till next month, and just cut yourself some slack. And even if you don't get through all the must do's, celebrate everything that you did on that list and say, I did it. I got that done. I didn't get everything done, but look at all the things I did get done. And look at what that means for me and, how accomplished that means. And everything else I will figure out. Learn to do less and appreciate the things you do and really recognize them. And then, and this is really important, You need to learn to say no. You need to learn to say no. I can't do that, or no, right now is not a good time for me, or let me have a look and get back to you, and I will let you know. So either you know it's a no and you feel it's a no, and you'll feel it in your body. You'll know. You will know when it's a no because you will feel it, because you'll be inside of yourself going, no, no, honey, we ain't doing that. Okay, sure. you know, or you can say, or someone will ask you to do something and be like, like, frig, I got so much on my plate already. And maybe that's when you say, you know what, I can totally do that for you, but right now is really not a good time for me. Let me get back to you on a time. Or, and this is, you can use this obviously if you're really, really not sure, or if you're unprepared to respond and you're unprepared to actually say the words no. You're not comfortable. You're like, oh God, I need to say no to this, but I don't know how to say it. Let me get back to you. Okay. So you can use that as kind of like your default, like your catch-all response. Let me get back to you. And then you can take it away and you can really think about it if you're unsure. Is this really something I want to do? Can I do this right now? Can I do this later? Do I really just not want to do this at all? And decide. And then you can respond, and you don't need to over-explain yourself. You can just say, this isn't really the right fit for me. You can recommend someone else who may be able to help. You can suggest, if it's your family, hey, this is a good opportunity for you to do this for yourself. I know kids would hate that. And I'm not a mom. I am not a mom. I'm not going to lie, but I will say this. I have given this advice to a lot of my clients, and it has actually shifted dynamics in their family relationships. And the ones that are waking up before their kids, like even me, like I wake up at 5 a.m. I wake up way before my day, sometimes even 4, before my day starts, to do my practice and record my podcast and do all these things that are important and meaningful to me before I start to do anything else, because those are my priorities. This podcast, my self-care, my journal practice, my exercise, my hydration, like all these things. These are the things that are important to me and my well-being throughout the day. So I start my day with self-care. And that's why I wake up early. I do the things that I need to do that are going to make me feel better throughout the day. So that includes my journal practice, having a really good cup of coffee, which I'm enjoying right now, getting in a workout, right? First thing in the morning, podcasting so that I get my thoughts and my ideas out there before, the rest of the world has an opportunity to just come on in and infiltrate and influence them. So it's really authentic. Whatever I say here is always really authentic because it's literally the first thoughts I'm having each day. And I know that I've taken and prioritized me time, right? I'm prioritizing what I need so I can show up as my best self for everyone else in my life. And I guess that's the other strategy, right? Is to show up for yourself first. Give yourself what you need. Give yourself that permission to take care of yourself, to do the things that make you feel good, to get in a good workout, to take care of how you eat, to sleep well, to go for that massage or book that spa day or whatever it is that you're wanting to do. Do that for yourself and give yourself permission to do that first. Then, like I said, managing your day throughout your day, managing your to-dos, saying no. And the last and final thing is always carving out some time at the end of the day between your to-dos and bedtime to wind down. It is so important for a good night's sleep that you have wind down time. You cannot go, and then put your pajamas on, hop into bed and expect to get a good night's sleep. You won't, because your body is still burning energy because you've been moving and doing. It's almost like doing a workout before bed. Like you've still got energy being produced through your body, and it makes it really hard for you to sleep. The best advice I ever received from like a sleep therapist, like I can't remember the name of the sleep therapist, but she had like an on YouTube channel. The best advice I ever received, was make sure all activity stops, and eating especially too. All activity and eating stops. I think she said something like 3 hours before bedtime. So the last 3 hours before bed should be very little movement, very little digestion. The body should be you're setting the body to shut down for the night, right? It should be, you're signaling it that it's time to sleep. And then literally turning off all TVs and everything and lights. Maybe you can keep a dim light, but it's best to keep it really dark, at least half hour before you want to go to sleep, because the light will signal that it's still not bedtime. And so what I do is usually is before I go to bed, or when I go to bed, I will kind of, turn off the lights, keep it really dim, turn on a podcast and just listen to something or meditation or some music and just kind of lay in bed and let myself kind of gently fall into sleep when my body is ready, right? It's almost like instead of deciding mentally you're going to sleep, you're cueing your body that it's time for sleep, which is a totally different approach, and letting your mind just do its thing. And that I find really works for me. You can find what works for you, but that I found has really worked for me. And now what I want to stress here is what's important about these things and taking these actions and doing these things to make sure that you are well taken care of and you have what you need. I want to really stress this. The reason why people are taking advantage of you, and I know that you feel like they're taking advantage of you, and you feel like you're totally taken for granted in your life and in your work and in your business and in your family, is because you're taking for granted of you. And these people are just mirroring that behavior back to you. You're saying, I'm not important. I don't need anything. Your needs come first. They're like, okay, great. I need this. I need that. I need this. I need that. And you're just running around going, okay. And it's not the solution. The solution is to say, and you don't actually have to verbally say this. You can say this energetically by saying no, by putting yourself first, by practicing your self-care. You're saying energetically, no, I can't do everything for you. I need to do some things for myself too, so that I can be stronger and better for you, right? I know our families are important. I know our children are important. I know our parents are important. You guys know, like, my parents have been, struggling with illness after illness after illness for the last, several years. And, me and my sister are primary caregivers to my parents, and we're both working full time and this and that and whatever. And it is draining. And we are exhausted. Trying to juggle everything, and just the worry of how they're doing, and what's going to happen next is enough to exhaust us. But you know what? This is where I learned why this is so important, because when I didn't do this, when I didn't take care of myself and give myself what I needed, I was agitated with these two beautiful humans that have taken care of me all my life and who I love more than anything else in the world. I was agitated because I was feeling run down and depleted. And I was almost resentful because I felt like I was sabotaged. My life was being sabotaged, and basically I felt like my life was falling apart because I was so busy taking care of everyone else. And that wasn't the case. Like, they weren't taking advantage of me. They were just, okay, you're here. Okay, we need this, we need that, we need, and that's all that it was. And I still do all the things for them. Like, don't get me wrong. I still do all the things that they need me to do. But this is why I wake up at 5 a.m. I take care of what I need first. I make sure that I'm looking after myself. I make sure that I'm looking after my emotional, spiritual, mental well-being, my physical well-being. I'm getting in some exercise. I'm getting in my hydration. I'm preparing my meals so that I'm eating healthy and not eating on the go like I was before. I am saying no to certain things that, I just can't fit into the schedule, and I have no guilt about it. Sometimes I have to go back on commitments and plans that I made, and I have no guilt about that either, even though people would have their opinions, but that's their opinion. I know what I can do. And, it's important to me and to my parents' well-being that I do these things, because otherwise I show up awful. And I know that. And this is the lesson the last few years have taught me, is that I can want to take care of them till the cows come home. But if I'm not taking care of myself, I will do a rotten job of taking care of them. And I will be resentful, exhausted, and agitated. And I will probably do stupid things and make stupid mistakes. Like the time that I drove my dad to emergency, left the hazard lights on, and by the time we got back into the car, the battery was dead. That is because I was a total stress case and I was not managing myself well. Okay, these are the things that happen when we don't take care of ourselves. And I know people like, I know what you're saying when I say, you got to take care of yourself first. Oh, yeah, right. Nice bitch. Why don't you step into my shoes and see what my day actually looks like? I get it. What I'm saying for you to do is, I'm not saying your day is not filled with things. What I'm saying, and I get it, and I get the frustration. What I'm saying is little by little, step by step, start to take a few of those things off, because I can guarantee you there's things in there that you don't need to be doing, that you're doing because you think it makes you more valuable. And this is where people pleasing plays into this equation. You think that there's things in there that you're doing that you don't need to be doing, but you're doing because you think it makes you more valuable, more lovable, and making people appreciate you more. And it's actually doing the opposite. Those are the things that I want you to look at. I want you to take those away if you can. And I want you to focus on the things that you have to do. And I want you to focus on asking yourself each and every day, what do I need to give myself in order to feel whole, in order to feel healthy, in order to feel at my best? And I want you to start incorporating those slowly and gently into your life. You don't have to overhaul everything, but I want you to slowly start incorporating those into your life. And I want you to watch things shift. The more you say no to others, for the things you don't really need to be doing. I'm not saying for the things you need. I'm not saying say no to feed your children, okay? Let me make that clear. When you start to say no to the things you really don't need to be doing, or that you could do later, or that somebody else could really do for you. When you start saying no to those things, and you start saying yes to the things that you need in order to feel your best, you will be a better human to the people that you love. And the people that you love will learn that, hey, she needs some support too. She needs to do some things. She does so many things for us. She needs things for herself too. Whether that comes from you or them or whatever, or someone else, you deserve to feel supported. And you're kind of putting that message out there. And things, I promise you, will start to shift. But it's got to start with you. It's got to start with no to something else and yes to yourself. And that is the simple, no-nonsense strategy to creating more balance and well-being so that you can be the best mom, sister, daughter, wife, girlfriend, lover, employee, whatever, mistress on the side. I don't care. No judgment. Please don't do that. Please try not to do that. Please avoid that situation. It's just not healthy for anybody. Okay, so that is that. That is all for today. Let me know if this resonates for you. Let me know if this is something that you've been struggling with and what strategies you're going to implement or where you're going to start to make changes. I really want to hold you accountable to this. It's really important. Until next time, massive love. You've been listening to the Femcast podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow and share. And don't forget to check out my website at thefemcoach.com for more resources and tools to help you harness your sacred feminine superpowers to live your best hot mess life. Until next time, massive love.